for me, do, I've always wanted to be a good representative of, like, the ways in which, I don't want to say cultural exchange, like it's such a, like it's an educational topic, but cultural exchange in the sense that, like, sharing your culture. I want to be a good representative of how sharing culture can really enrich your life.
Uh-huh.
And I think that is something that I've always wanted to represent through my music, in the sense that I write the lyrics and the music to all my songs. But I don't try to write in a way that is really, really, like, characteristically Japanese, in the sense that I like to make sure that I am keeping my perspective as someone who grew up in the States, moved to Japan, has lived in Japan for however many years. I want to make sure that I'm staying true to that perspective, because I think that if I were to just come to Japan, speak perfect Japanese, as in, I'm sure that if I took classes the way that, like, TV announcers take classes to speak, like, perfect Hyojungo, then that would be an attainable goal. But I feel like I'm at a level now where the mistakes that I do make in Japanese, or I guess mistakes, because, you know, even within Japan, there's a lot of variety in what's a correct way to speak. But those kind of are a part of who I am at this point.
Right.
And it took a long time to get to that point where I was like, not that I'm done learning Japanese, because I'll always be, I think, continuing my, study of Japan, Japanese culture, and Japanese language. But I think that I've got to a point where I know what parts of me are authentically me at this point. Because when you move from one culture to another, you kind of have to, it kind of gives you an opportunity to figure out, like, what parts of my personality and what parts of, like, the way that I interact with people are actually me, and what is just kind of, like, reflected from the environment. Because, the way that you interact with people is completely different when you go from somewhere very individualistic culture in the States, and then very group-oriented culture in Japan. And when you're basically starting from scratch and kind of rebuilding yourself, in the sense that nobody here in Japan knows, well, in the beginning when I came, knew who I was, in the way that, like, my family knows who I am, my friends, my teachers know who I am. So I kind of had to start from scratch and figure out what I wanted to keep with me and what was important to me, what parts of me were important enough that I wanted to make sure that they were still being conveyed in Japanese. Right. And I think that I have slowly but surely, and there's still more work to be done, but figured out, like, what parts of me are really, really me. And I want to make sure that I'm always reflecting that in my music. And not just my music, but my YouTube channel as well. My, any work that I do in general. So knowing that my unique perspective and knowing what about that is important to me as a person is kind of what has developed my voice, I think, and what kind of motivates me to continue to perfect my craft, I guess. It's a really dramatic way to say that, but